Hello, and welcome to another Lumbridge Knight guide for free-to-play OSRS. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Ruins of Camdozaal Dungeon. So keep watching if you want to crush some Body Golems and earn those Barronite Shards. You can find the Ruins of Camdozaal north of Falador on the west side of Ice Mountain. In order to get access to this area, you will need to complete the Below Ice Mountain quest, for which a quest guide will be popping up on the screen now. You can pick up everything you need within the dungeon, and there's also a usable bank, so you don't really need to bring anything with you. We're now going to get straight into the dungeon, starting with a quick tour using the map. We've got Romano in the centre. This is the smithing area where you can break down your Barronite deposits and hand in your Barronite Shards. To the right we have the bank. To the north we've got the Camdozaal vaults, which I'll come back to later. East we have the Golem workshop, where you can find all the various golems. And then finally on the west side we have the mining and fishing areas, as well as the big void, which is the entrance to Lassar, which is members only. Being a dwarven settlement, it shouldn't be unexpected that mining would feature somewhere, and what we mine here is Barronite. Barronite is the currency of the dungeon, and it's key to unlocking pretty much everything inside, so it's crucial you understand how to accumulate it. The mines are in the northwest quadrant of the dungeon. I've highlighted the veins that I like to use, as well as some barrels where you can get a bronze pickaxe. I recommend using the best pickaxe you have, so since this character is around level 50 mining, I'll be using a rune pickaxe. Your equipment and level will likely be different to mine, so your rate will slightly differ, so use this as an example of the range of XP possible. Right, let's get into it. You get 16 mining XP for each batch of shards mined, and 32 XP for each Barronite deposit. In total, I was able to mine around 400 to 500 shards per full inventory of deposits, at a rate of about 8.5k mining XP per hour, and a grand total once I've broken the deposits, which you'll see shortly, of 700-ish shards. To break your deposits, head back to the area where Romano is, deposit your shards by either selecting them and then clicking on Romano, or the forge directly. Then you want to grab the hammer from the floor there and use the golden anvil to break down your Barronite deposits. Breaking a deposit down will net you 30 smithing XP, so from an inventory of 27, you'll receive 810 XP. Equally for each deposit, there's a small chance of receiving a rare item, such as the antique that just appeared in my inventory there. These can be sold at the Varrock Museum for around 200 coins each. I recommend banking them to sell at a later date. The reason we are depositing our shards at this point is to unlock the buffs. There are 6 buffs in total. The boost buff is temporary, it only lasts for an hour, while the fishing, preparation, defense, mining and luck buffs are permanent. I recommend you get these unlocked as soon as possible, but start with the mining one because this will obviously increase the amount of Barronite you mine, making all the other ones easier to get. Then go for the luck one because this increases your chance of getting rare drops, i.e. Barronite Mace pieces. In total then, you're going to be looking at a couple of hours here. Once I'd obtained the mining boost, the numbers of shards I mined increased from around 300 to 500 to 400 to 600, which combined with the Barronite deposits, gave me around 800 shards per trip and boosted my mining XP to about 10k XP per hour. Now the last thing I want to cover is the Barronite head, which you can only obtain from mining in the dungeon. It has a 1 in 200 chance of being found when you break a B-Knight deposit on the anvil, and that's really why you should get the luck buff, because it increases the probability of getting this drop by a further 5%. You can also exchange any spare heads for 100 shards, or high alch for 5k coins. The Barronite Mace is something you should definitely aim for, particularly if you're playing as an Iron Man, as this is now probably the second best melee weapon in free-to-play. I'll assemble the mace at the end of the video. For now, just look for the Barronite head, and be aware that each task in the dungeon generally yields a piece of the mace.
I'm gone fishing.
Thank you, Mr. Rhea. We have indeed gone fishing. One of the more unique elements of the Camdozaal dungeon is this link between fishing and prayer. The fishing area is in the southwest side of the dungeon, and the fishing is net fishing. We then prepare the fish using a knife and one of the altars before offering the fish at another. You can see 2 fishing spots there, a small net spawns here, so grab one if you need it and start fishing. Just a quick reminder to get the buffs, particularly the fishing and preparation buffs, before you come to this area. For those seeking the Barronite Mace, the luck buff is also useful, as, similar to mining, there is the chance of getting a rare drop in the form of the Barronite handle. You'll not see this on the video because I forgot to record it. No! Keep fishing until you get it. I got mine after about 2 hours-ish, similar to the mining. What sort of fishing rates do we see? Well, guppies offer a lowly 8 XP, cavefish offer 16 XP, and tetra offer 24 XP. Without the buff, you're talking 3.5k XP per hour. With the buff, I saw rates around 30 to 40% higher at 6k per hour. Compare this to lobster fishing, where I can get around 200 lobsters an hour. That's about 18k XP per hour, so this method is probably only useful for early game or if you are here to do some AFK-ish prayer XP, which I'll cover shortly. Having gotten our full inventory, we're going to move on to cooking or preparing the fish. You know, for RuneScape, this fishing area looks great. Anyway, once you get to the altars, grab a knife if you need one and start preparing the fish. In terms of experience, guppies offer the lowest with 12 XP, cavefish offer 23 XP, and tetra offer 31. This translates to around 5k cooking XP per hour without the buff, which increases to around 8 XP per hour with the buff. My fishing is around level 50, the rate you experience may differ depending on your level. The buffs resulted in a rate that was again 30 to 40% higher. You may have also noticed that I've fished some Barronite Shards. You will fish Barronite, but it's a very low rate. Once you've prepared each of the fish, click on the largest altar. It asks you which fish you want to offer each type in turn, and you get some prayer experience. For the third and final time, let's give you the XP rates. You get 4 XP for the guppies, 7 XP for cavefish, and 10 for tetra. I managed to get about 1.5k XP per hour prayer experience without the buff, and about 2.5k XP with the buff, which again is on par with the 30 to 40% increase we've been observing. Training prayer in free-to-play has always been a bit of a pain, and this doesn't necessarily make it less painful. It does, however, attempt to plug a much-needed gap in the free-to-play game mechanics by offering a reasonably effective AFK way to train your prayer. How effective that is, I leave to you.
Please like the video and support my content. Thank you, noble knight.
Basically, the entire east and southeast section is the Golem workshop, and there are 3 types of Golem that free-to-play characters can fight against. There's the Body Golems, you can see here. The south area that's empty is where the Chaos Golems are on pay-to-play worlds, which leaves these other 2 areas where you will find Flawed and Mind Golems. To give you a rough idea of difficulty, the Body Golems level 50, Chaos is 70, and the Flawed and Mind are levels 13 and 30 respectively. Again, a quick reminder, make sure you've got the correct buffs activated. Here you should have the defense buff, which gives you plus 5 defense levels versus golems. You can save spot golems from the entrance if you want to use ranged or magic, and if you're going to use melee, make sure you bring plenty of food. Their max hit is a 7 and they don't have any defense bonus to crush damage, so a crush weapon is also advantageous. There's a 1 in 250 chance of getting the Barronite Guard as a drop from the Body Golems, which is the best rate in free to play. Even so, this one took by far the longest of any of them. For me personally, 250 kills. But it's also down to the RNG gods, so you might find it quicker. Here's my reaction from when it eventually dropped for me. The only other drops of note are the Golem cores, which you can take to the respective rune crafting altars, each of which gives the equivalent XP of 10 runes. They also drop noted rune essence now too, so you can use training on the golems to build up some rune crafting XP. Welcome to what is probably my favourite part of the dungeon, the vault. The vault is basically a labyrinth with changeable gates located in the northern part of the dungeon. What I mean by changeable gates is basically the blue arrows and red crosses. These change each time you enter the vault. Sometimes it's favourable, sometimes it's not. You can see I brought some energy potions. Generally I found that your run energy doesn't run out as long as you don't bring any equipment with you. But if you are intending to do multiple runs, then energy potions will be useful. It costs 750 Barronite Shards to enter, and as soon as you get in, you get hit with this high impact music and the 60-second timer begins. I really love this because it gets the adrenaline flowing and it's just a really fun mechanic. There are 3 levels of boxes to loot: simple, elaborate and ornate. The ornate ones are found at the back, the elaborates in the middle and the simple at the beginning. You want to be heading to the back for the ornate chests because these are the ones that drop the best stuff. To route plan, I suggest you zoom your camera right out so you can see the gate layout, and to aim for the back wall. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. It's just pot luck. I aim for about 3 chests and then to get the hell out of there, or just bail whenever the clock hits 20 seconds. To recap, don't bring any equipment for the wait, bring some energy potions just in case you run out of run, zoom the camera right out, pan up and aim for the back wall. And one final piece of advice, don't be greedy. If you zero out, you get nothing. Give this minigame a try because it's a really cool mechanic. Unfortunately though, the drops are not great. There are a few that are useful for Ironman accounts and low to mid-level characters may find something of use. However, if you're already rocking full rune and are north of level 40, you're not really going to find much of value. Just treat this as a bit of fun. What are my final thoughts on the rewards that you can receive from within the dungeon? Well, firstly, let's talk about the Barronite Mace. To construct it, just use one of the pieces of the mace on Romano while you have all 3 pieces present in your inventory. Romano then charges 1.5k Barronite Shards to assemble the mace, so remember to have the shards in your inventory too. It took me the best part of 2 to 3 days to get the drops in order to assemble it. Damn that Barronite guard. The mace itself is better than a rune mace in that there's 1 extra crush damage and 4 extra strength, but at the cost of a decreased prayer bonus of 2. So prayer wise, the rune mace is still better, but in terms of raw damage, it's the B-Knight all the way. Equally against golems, it's probably the best weapon in free to play, as it also gets a plus 15% damage bonus against them specifically. Now onto the rewards from my vault runs. I did 5 runs and managed to get 6 ornates and 6 elaborates. You can see what I got on the screen there. I would say if you're a middling player, say 20 to 50, some of these rewards are going to be of use to you. If you're an Iron Man however, that adamant kite shield is actually very useful, but it's a 1 in 800 chance, so I got extremely lucky there. I think there's only Obor the Hill Giant boss who actually drops a rune kite in the whole of free to play, which outside of smithing one yourself is the only way an Iron Man can get a better shield. You can see that the price guide averaged at about 3.3k coins per run after 5 runs. Overall, I think I'd rather see a harder vault with better drops than what we've got at the moment, which is probably only useful for low to mid-level accounts. I do like the Barronite Mace, it looks awesome and is actually the second best all-round weapon in free-to-play, but technically the best weapon in free-to-play if you're going to train melee in the Golem workshops. This dungeon is definitely fun with some great aesthetics and atmosphere. The vault runs are fun for a while, but the rewards won't be much use to veteran players. The dungeon does offer some great AFK-ish methods for training prayer and mining. As well as this, training on the golems with the right buffs and a B-Knight Mace is probably one of, if not the highest melee XP rate in free-to-play. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope this guide has helped you crush the Camdozaal dungeon. Please leave a comment with any feedback or questions, as I'm keen to hear them. And all left for me to say is I've been the Lumbridge Knight, peace out, and thanks for watching.